Okay, I was out on my walk and my buddy Simon called and didn't sound too good, so I'm going to head back now and see what's up.
So Simon, what happened?
I fired everyone last week. We're pulling out. We've built a decent product. However, we're not getting the terms that we're looking for. So that's it.
Sorry to hear that.
Today, we look at what this failed startup journey taught us. A startup can be a transformative journey, and it's also a very different looking Simon that we're talking to today compared to the Simon I spoke to when we started speaking about a year ago.
This is Raw Startup.
Now let's meet Simon.
I'm a geek. I've specialized in connecting people to the business part of the business. And I've been doing that as a management consultant for over half a decade and spent the past 15 years working as a C-level in different scale-ups. 3 years ago, I opened Talentcast, which was my own company, which was trying to solve recruitment based on making it more effective, making room for the kindness and the fairness in recruitment.
So what motivated you to do Talentcast?
I was born in Poland. I came to Denmark as a young kid. I carry my family name with proudness, Kaczmarek. And to be very honest, finding a job until it became, a professional within my industry, that was a very hard thing to do. And I have 4 kids. They're carrying my name too. And I just wanted to solve that issue before they start looking for a job and not be afraid that their family name would stand in the way of them getting their dream role. So I bootstrapped the building of the product myself. And we didn't look for money before after the first clients came on board. So it was just after our 10th company onboarded that we started to look around for funding.
The product's been built and it's time to start fundraising.
I started to contact VCs. I've never done that before. So I tried to figure out how to do that. And I reached out to 10 potential, working within the HR tech space, working with SaaS companies. And, within days, 6 of them just came back. 4 of them wanted to go throw term sheets at us. We went with 1 of them. And the process was just amazing. There were so many people involved. There was so much momentum in it. And I was having a hard time digesting the speed of how fast this was going. It was a sure thing, literally sure thing.
Things are good, funding is in place, just send us some money.
And just before signing the papers and landing a offer 3-4 months after our first step into this, they introduced a term to the deal, which had a heavy penalty to the team and to the business. And I didn't sign the papers. So that was a very, very volatile moment for me. I remember oh my God, these are the papers that the lawyers, which has spent weeks on negotiating back and forth, they said, okay, we're doing this. This is it. I almost signed our new offices because the same time this is happening, I'm looking for offices in Copenhagen because look, it's happening. It's going to happen. And I got the contract and I negotiated the terms for the office. And for some reason, I didn't sign. There was this gut feeling just to wait 4 days. And I called them up listen, I'm going to sign these papers. Just give me 3 or 4 days. I just want to figure something out. And in the meantime, we lost the VC.
That's bad. How did you handle that?
I remember, full transparency, standing up the next day, putting my kids to school in kindergarten, kissing my wife, and told her I'll be in my kids' bedroom the entire day, hiding. I'll be ready when they come back from school. But I'm spending the entire day shades down, just processing what happened.
Yeah, that sounds horrible, and sometimes you have to spend some time processing. Simon kept fighting, but the market had changed.
In the meantime, the Ukrainian war just escalated more and more, and the term sheets that we got, fun part was the valuation held, but the terms became harsher and harsher over time. I restarted structurally looking for new VC or investors in end of August and received another 2 offers, but they were too harsh on the business. And I ended up not pursuing them.
But at some point, Simon had to give up. This was not going to happen.
And that's the hard part, because at this point, we had 12 people working on the project in some form of capacity, some full-time, some part-time, some advisors. They're all invested. They've all been helping, whether it was with the technical part, the machine learning, the VC part, the business part. That was a group of people emotionally invested in that journey. And I spoke with my wife, I remember one evening, and I told her, look, we've invested all this money and I feel that this is not the way to go. I let the team go. And that was hard.
Not good. It's the end of the road for Talentcast. Simon let the people go. Not an easy thing to do. It's time to learn something from this. What did Simon learn and what can we learn from this? Fundraising is a skill game.
So fundraising is a skills game. There is something wonderful and courageous about asking other people for their money. And maybe it's my culture, maybe it's the way I was brought up, but that's a very hard thing to do. And when I did that, because obviously I was looking for capital, I did it in the most honest way. Like, this is the truth. This is the vision. This is where we are. And there's nothing more than this.
You should always tell the truth when you're fundraising, but you also have to sell and hustle a little bit. And that part was hard for Simon. Raising money costs money and resources.
And one of the things that really surprised me, it costs a lot of money to raise money. There is a lot of opportunity costs involved in it as well. Like, we never truly transitioned from founder-led sales to sales team. So me not selling had a direct impact on the numbers, which were the numbers that we're presenting to the investors.
This is a classic problem. Founder needs to raise some money, which means he isn't selling the product anymore. And now you take a hit on sales.
Saying, hey, we're looking for money. You're like, what happened here? I was looking for money.
There's a real risk of going to a downward cycle here. Founder needs to go and raise some money. Now nobody's selling the product. Sales go down. Now you can't raise money. Always go MVP. This can't be said enough. Always go MVP.
When two geeks fall in love with a product, they tend to overdevelop the product. And I think one of the things that we learned during our, raising money was everyone's surprised at how far we've come with the product at the stage that, in our stage. And those resources that we spent developing that product could have been used elsewhere, marketing, sales, and so forth.
Avoid the comparison game. Be careful how much you look at other founders and mirror yourself in them. We tend to show our best selves on LinkedIn, and sometimes that isn't the total picture.
Being a founder, especially a solo founder, you're very alone. So what I did, and I should have done less of, was looking into other founders, like, hey, what are their experiences? And one of the ways of doing that is opening your LinkedIn account and just saying, hey, what's happening out there? In the industry, in other industries, and so forth, in the entrepreneurial part of the business. And that's not healthy. That's really not healthy. I've seen leaders in different industries, but in the same size of business, comparing themselves to other, knowing only the fraction of their story, knowing only the successes, not the failures or all the things that they lost and the cost of it. And that's very dangerous. It takes away your motivation, your energy, and makes you second guess yourself.
This is very true. It can be very demotivating to look at how well everyone else is doing. Everyone is successful on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is literally the only place I'm at. And I was my feed just changed radically after I opened Talentcast. The algorithm exposed me to one, investment after another. Like, oh my God, they got money, they got funded. What's going on? What are they doing that we're not? And the thing
LinkedIn is just corporate Instagram, right?
It is. Oh my God.
You're not in control. Startups are different. You're not in full control. There's always a lot of outside factors contributing to whatever outcome you have. This can be a big shock for people coming from the corporate world.
I never saw myself as the founder. I was just a geek, which was highly motivated for personal and business reasons to change something which everyone's trying to change to something positive. And coming from corporate, where there is a very strong one-to-one correlation between action and output, right? So if you get shit done, you're gonna get that appraisal, you're gonna get that raise, you're gonna get promotion. However, in the world of startup entrepreneurship, you don't have the same control.
No.
You can do all the right things, have a great product, and still not hit the timing or the audience or something else. There's so much out of your control. And for me, I learned that very late in the game.
So what is next for Simon?
I'm staying on the corporate side of it. Talentcast was my one shot. Like, this is something I wanted to change. That was something I was very passionate about. I was never made to go into a different startup and try something new and new and new. So back to corporate again, but working with what I love. Continue to work with what I love.
Simon says he's not a serial founder, but let's see what the future brings. Also, would you do it again?
Oh, definitely. Look, I just want to make an emphasis on startup is not for everyone. Startup is not even for most. Okay? It takes a toll on yourself, on your surroundings, on your resources, on your family. It has to be a partnership with yourself and your family to do this. Chances are you're not going to make it. And chances are you won't even know why you didn't make it before years after.
Yeah.
It's fucking hard. For me, having endured 3 years with Talencast and build the product, and having the rush of getting that first customer, and having the rush of having a team working with me, I loved it. But I also understand that the fuel for me was the passion. And if it's not there, I'm not going to do it.
Let's have some final advice.
This might be a different type of advice. Being a business owner is only a fraction of your identity. You're not losing yourself if you lose your business. That's a very important thing to understand. Look, I've seen for the past 12 months businesses who are much more mature than mine, who had bigger revenue streams, who have ×3 employees, taking loans in their houses, taking VCs on board on shitty terms. It's going to bite them in their asses. And it did. You have to know that when to stop and that it's only a fraction of your identity. Being a founder is just one of the caps that you're wearing in life.
This is very important advice, something to really think about there. Finally, I've had many long conversations with Simon, and he's doing great. Still, I know he would appreciate some encouraging comments, so if you have any comments to Simon, please put them in the comments here. If you want more content just like this, please consider pressing like and subscribe, and you won't miss any future videos. Thank you very much for watching Raw Startup. Now stop watching, go build something.